Welcome to Wash Power Academy. Today we will go through a new model called XB50, which will come into the market here in the spring of 2025. The aim is to explain to our employees and partners around the world exactly what is the difference between an XB50 and an X100 to prepare you for the model coming onto the market. Here on my right side we have the XB50, and on the left side we have our traditional X100 to compare it with. So if we look at the model, the first thing that you will notice is the material that the model is built in is different material against the X100. So here we are working with metal which is galvanized by electrical galvanization rather than hot galvanization. So it's a different material, lighter and cheaper to work with, against the more robust and sturdy galvanized version that you know in heavy metal. The next thing that you will see is that the XB50 is a battery driven version only. So there's no hose wheel in this version, that there's actually no hose wheel in. So this model will be pulling the hose along and driving over the hose when it's going back. That is very much different to what we have on the X100, which can be a powered 110 volts or 220 volts, where we always have the hose wheel, and we also have the hose wheel even if it's an XB battery driven model. The XB50 is intended to be a smaller brother for the X100, which is much easier to operate and also easier to get started with in the farm. So the intention is actually that you can start this up yourself without having people from Wash Power or our partners come out, and to a large extent you'll be able to service it as well. That's a requirement for our US markets, and that's something we feel also in some European markets could be relevant. Now if we take a closer look at the XB50, on the menu of the robot there's also some differences. So on an XB50 you have on the home button, you get to this screen that you see here. So you have the level of the battery, you have a nozzle out position that you can change, you have a nozzle in position that you can change, and you have the speed of the robot that you can change. You can then also choose if you want it to have washing of the end of the aisle, up the wall or not. And you can choose if you want to have a floor focus and a panel focus. So here, first wash is equal to the floor focus that we normally do in the first wash on the X100. And the second wash is equal then to the second wash we normally do on the X100, so we have two different angles and thereby two different focuses. But on this one, the XB50, you can only choose if you want it or not. You cannot make any changes to it. Then you can start the robot here, and you can also take an arm off if you want to here, so the sensor is taken on and off when you remove the arm. Those are the settings you have that are available, and that's what you can do as an end user. That means that you cannot do all the fine settings that we're doing on the X100. You cannot adjust the nozzle speeds, you cannot adjust the angles in forward direction and so on. Here you just have the most common settings. The rest is then factory set for you. This is to make it easy to operate the robot, and it's also making it easy to start it up at your farm yourself. Now I'm just going to show you what is behind the scene on this one, on the XB50. So if I click here, you will see that you have the option still to do the manual drive. You can see your alarms, and you can also see your service settings. But you do not have edit program, because on the XB50, the only program you have is actually the program you have here on the front page. So whatever you change here, when you switch it off and switch it on again, that will come back and you will need to do your changes again. So to compare to the X100, just shortly, just going to go to the English here. When I click here, I have my edit programs where I can go in and copy and paste and change the program. On my individual programs, I have options to delay start. I can do barn settings. I can do nozzle settings. I can even have 2 different nozzle settings I can operate here. And one more important thing is that on the XB50, you do not have the option for dual nozzle cycle. So that is taken out. So the XB50 is operating only with the single nozzle settings, and that means that you cannot make use of both nozzles at the same time. The robot will automatically switch between the nozzles when it's focusing on the floor wash, going to the other side, focus on the floor wash, go back, focus on the panel wash, and go back again and focus on the panel wash. So dual nozzle option is completely out from the XB50 as a standard. Now let's have a look at how we mount the hose onto the units, the XB50, since we do not have the hose wheel inside. So here on the side we have an opportunity to mount it into the connector, which is now down here. So I will now show you how to take the hose from the farm, walk it up the aisle, come back and mount it on the robot in the correct way. So I have to pull the hose all the way up the aisle where I want to use the robot. So I'll take it all the way up to the end wall, and then I'll walk back towards the robot, and I pass it here on the other side, walk around, and now I will mount it on to the unit down here. Now for convenience I can also have it a little bit higher. So I'm going to put it on here, secure it, put it down, and now I'm going to turn it so that it's entering underneath the robot and it's locked up here. Now the hose is centrally placed underneath the robot. So I'm just going to illustrate to you by moving the robot forward here. That it will actually just go over the hose. And now you see it's starting to pull the hose here on the center, right? So now it's going to go all the way to the other end and return coming down here, and actually it's going to jump over the hose a number of times going back and forth. This is the way the XB50 is operated. So to try and sum it all up, you will have a model that is less expensive on the market in the XB50, but you will also have a robot that's very limited compared to its brother, the X100. Over here, you have all the settings that you're used to. You can fine trim on water consumption and everything. Over here, it's like a plug and play. It is what it is. and it does what it does. It's easier to get started, it's cheaper to get started, but you also don't get all the details that you have over here. And you don't get all the add-ons like compact module, etc. So, a plug-and-play version for each of the countries who choose to have it, and it will be a country-specific model that comes with a certain length of arms. The software is set up for the country, and if the arms needs to change, you will do that locally in your country with added cost to the customer. This video was just to give you a short summary of the XB50, the features of it, and how it's intended to come onto the market. Thank you for watching.